As many of you know, I'm a pretty big fan of CNN's Anderson Cooper. And after Friday's AC360, my admiration reached a whole new level. It all started when Cooper interviewed disgraced Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich after Trump pardoned him. You'll remember he went to jail for trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat. So, naturally, Blagojevich was appropriately humble after his prison stint, telling Cooper he never should have been charged in the first place because there was no quid pro quo. Wonder where he got that from. And then he went even further with his jaw-dropping line of complaints.
I am a political prisoner. I was put in prison for practicing.
Wait a minute, you're a political
politics.
prisoner? Nelson Mandela was a political prisoner. Political prisoners have no due process and are unjustly jailed. You had a jury convict you. You had appeals courts look at your sentencing, and you even appealed to the Supreme Court twice, and they refused to hear you. So you're hardly a political prisoner.
Well, first of all, Nelson Mandela went to before a court. He was convicted in a court of law. I had nearly 8 years to read books.
Right, by a racist apartheid government.
That's correct.
And not a jury of his peers.
If you were to ask,
as you just saw, Anderson Cooper pushed back, and when Blagojevich doubled down, so did Cooper.
And I've learned something in these 8 years, and that is that we have a racist and corrupt criminal justice system in many areas.
Right.
And this is why I hope one day maybe you'll join me in the fight to reform our criminal justice system and actually do something about the problem of over-sentencing blacks and Latinos.
Right.
I learned that when I was there.
Okay. What's sad is that you hadn't actually learned that when you mattered, when you actually were the governor. You talk about working for the criminal justice reform. There's a lot of people in Chicago, there's a lot of people in Illinois who actually spit up when you say that. Because when you were actually in power and when you were actually governor and you could have helped thousands of people with clemency cases, you blew it off. The governor after you inherited a huge backlog, nearly 3,000 clemency petitions that you failed to review. In fact, you were sued as governor by Cabrini Green Legal Aid to try and pressure you to actually pay attention to clemency cases instead of extorting people for money and campaign contributions. So it's a little ironic and frankly a little sad and pathetic and hypocritical, you talking about you get a commutation of a sentence, which is within the president's right, but you ignored a whole hell of a lot of other people who are hoping you might give them clemency when you actually mattered. So actually, you know what? I'm happy to. There wasn't a question; it was a statement. I'd be happy to work with people on criminal justice reform, but I wouldn't work with you.
Okay, can I answer that statement and question? Okay, I'd like to address that. Look. When you've been put where I was and you have all the time that I was given to think and look back on some of the things you might have done different, that's certainly an area that you talked about that I certainly wish I would have done more on. There's no question about that.
Fair enough. But, part of the thing is you got out. You do have an obligation to at least admit what you did wrong, and you refuse to do that, and you're creating a whole new alternate universe of facts. And that may be big in politics today, but it's still, frankly, just bull.
Be still, my heart. Aspiring journalists, take note. This is how you set the record straight in real time.